Hey everyone, my name's Andy from the Finding Value Finance channel. I've got Andrew back with us, the Silver Amir. Some people may know him as.
Yep.
That's on Twitter and on the Discord
Discord.
channel for the Finding Value website. So I wanted to talk about a question that I read, or a statement, I should say, that I read on Twitter that has me a little bit. I don't know. It's got me mixed up. It's not a. I don't like it. I'll just put it that way. And I wanted to get your opinion on it first, and we can discuss it, and I can give you the reasons maybe why I don't like it. So this is what I was reading, and it says you can't expect a 100K salary with a 50K work ethic. And I don't know if I understand exactly what that means. Because
Uh,
you can have a work ethic that, okay, so the way that I view this as, your work ethic can stay the same, but your value can be $50,000 at one point of your life, depending on the skill set that you've acquired, depending on the skills that you're deploying. But you can have the same work ethic, acquire different skills or skill sets, and have a 100K salary. The work ethic doesn't, that's not the determining factor. It's the skills and the way that you deploy those skills that determine your pay. Does that make sense?
and the environment. That's where, yeah, I'm really lost on this because I think the environment are those interactions. Is that what the 697K
Which
or
one? The
impressions?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes. That's how many views that somebody got.
Okay, so yeah, so a lot of people have looked at this and they're probably scratching their heads too. Um, I mean, the environment matters. What if you have a 50K work ethic chopping wood?
Well, yeah. So
What if you make
this is I want to
50K
talk about
selling
this because
cockroaches?
I don't understand what there's a lot of people that write these things. They think they're all, I don't know, extremely, I don't know. I
No,
don't know.
no, it's the didn't you remember this? This was popular 15 years ago where people would have those. Oh man, it was like before the meme, the idea of a meme came out. It was demotivational posters. Or what was it?
Mhm.
The motivational posters. You remember that? They used to be all over workplaces, schools.
Yeah, I know
People would
that.
have them in their offices. It's the same
Yes.
thing. That is one of
But
those guru motivational quotes that you put up on your wall and you think it inspires you, but no one really knows what it means.
but it says you can't expect a 100K salary with a 50K work ethic, and I would completely disagree. Your work ethic and the value that you get for your work does not determine, your work ethic doesn't determine necessarily your salary, at least solely. You can have great
Yeah.
work ethic and only be worth $10 an hour. Your worth does not isn't dependent on your work ethic. Your worth is dependent on the skills and the value that you provide outside of your work ethic necessarily. And your work ethic doesn't even matter, in my opinion. I'm going to go kind of to the extreme. So, for instance, I have a lot of people at work who work 50 hours a week, and that does not determine at all the value that you get out of them. Value and work ethic are not interchanged. You have people that work very hard and achieve very little. And you have people who seemingly, and this is my opinion here, the better you become at something, the less you have to work at it. The easier it looks. So work ethic is completely an opinion and has nothing to do with the actual value that you get derived out of whatever you're doing. What do you think, Andrew?
Okay, I'm laughing because I just thought of a story, and I love sharing stories. You know that. I feel like the best way to explain a concept is sometimes with a story that everyone can relate to. So, okay, here it comes. I don't. Maybe I told you this in private. I'm not too sure, but I told a few friends it, and the conclusion of this story was, um, no, what did I say? Performance. How hard you worked is not the same as performance or how quick you can achieve performance. We should be measuring people's ability based on how quickly they achieve an outcome and the quality of that outcome. It has nothing to do with your work ethic. It has nothing to do with the amount of hours you spent. Well, actually, it does have a little bit to do with it. You would ideally want less hours spent to achieve the same outcome. All right, so here's the story. This was last month. Some of you know I purchased a new house to me. It's an old house, a 40-year-old older house, 40 years old, need a lot of work done. The mirrors are original mirrors in all the bathroom. They were disgusting. They were kind of cracked. So I'm out there I'm getting ready to replace them. I do the measurements. I find the mirror I want. It's being sold at Home Depot. I go to Home Depot. I buy these mirrors. I come home. I open up the package. It's both of them are cracked right down the middle. I'm sitting there scratching my head like, oh, geez, I should have just checked this at Home Depot. And so I bring them back, I return them, and I go, hey, can I just exchange these? They go, yeah, sure. But you got to go to the other Home Depot. And I'm like, oh, crap, I got to make another drive. So I drive down, I go to the other Home Depot. I get there, and they're like, yeah, we have them. Look, it's on the app. So you just pull up the app, and it says it's an aisle 10, bin 8. And I'm like, all right, great. Easy enough. I go over there. It says there's 7 in stock. I need 2. I go over to that aisle, and I'm looking everywhere, and I can't find them. They're nowhere. So I finally get a hold of somebody, and this is where the principle matters. I get a hold of this lady, and I go, I can't find these anywhere. And I show it to her. She goes, okay, the barcode ends in 471, so we need to find 471. They're looking everywhere. They can't find 471. And then she goes, you know what? They're probably still up on the top, right? So if you go to Home Depot or Ace Hardware or whatever your hardware store is, it goes 40 feet high, like 3-4 stories high. And they need to bring a scissor lift to go find it or to go pull out the packaging. And I probably waited about 5 to 10 minutes of 3 ladies looking at their phone, staring up, trying to find 471. And this is the best part. The scissor lift is already in that aisle. And in like the performance side of me is just like itching. And I'm just thinking, let me get on that dang scissor lift. I'll take it up there and I'll go look. Every one of them didn't want to do it. They were so lazy. They just wanted to see if they could find the package from down below. And it's hard to read those things, right? When you're that far down. And finally they go, okay, we need to get someone on a scissor lift. They finally get someone on a scissor lift. They bring her up on the scissor lift and she still can't find it. By the way, it took her 5 minutes to bring the scissor lift up because she didn't know how to operate it. And then she's attracting so much attention. I'm blocked off away from the aisle because they have to close the aisle. I'm sitting outside. I have 5 employees with me, all staring at her, bring the scissor lift up. She gets stuck halfway and she's like, I don't know what to do. And they go, you got to reset it while you're up there. Turn it off, turn it back on kind of thing. And they do that. She goes back up. She comes back down. And she's like, I can't find it anywhere, blah, blah, blah. And all this kind of stuff. And eventually, and I'm sitting there scratching my head like, can I do this? Can I just get up there? And you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just one of those things where these people just they're not competent in or efficient in the way they do things. Turns out the box was maybe 20 feet over. So she finally finds it, brings up the scissor lift, she gets to the top, and she couldn't move the packages. It was too heavy. So all the packages were like squished in, wedged in with each other. She spent about 5 to 10 minutes up there. She finally managed to pull it out. She brought the scissor lift down. They had to grab 2 people because it's 6 mirrors. It is heavy. Each mirror is like, 20, 30 pounds. They bring them both out. They finally cut it open. They give me 2. I open both of them there. They're good. And I'm on my way out. I check out. On my way out, I see one of those people that were waiting with me, one of those 5 people that were waiting. She sees me with my mirrors walking to my car. She walks up to me and goes, oh my God, you found them. And I say, yeah, they found them. They found them. She goes, make sure the survey at the bottom of your receipt, you fill it out and you congratulate and give kudos to those 2 employees that helped you. They did such a great job. And I pack it and I close the door. I'm thinking to myself, no, they didn't. I think if I worked there, I could have helped someone in 5 minutes. It took them 30 minutes. So what I want to ask you is like, how do you measure that work ethic? To me, the outcome was the same. They both, if it was me or if it was those 2 ladies, both outcomes were the same. I got the mirrors. The difference is for them, it took them 30 minutes. For me, I would have got that done in 5 minutes. So there you go.
There's a huge disconnect between, I think, the engineering mindset and perhaps just regular people, or I don't know, engineers versus non-engineers. I'll just say that. All right. So when someone says you can't expect a 100K salary with a 50K work ethic, what if my work ethic is worth $1 million a year? And it's not the ethic that got me there. Let's just say it's straight brain power or persistence, or, the work ethic in something that you just started may be very intense and hard. And maybe in the end, you're not doing much, but you're reaping all the rewards. So I don't understand. ethic and pay is not, they're not inclusive. They're not, they're separate to some degree, depending on what you're doing, if that makes sense. So here's another thing. All right. Work ethic may or may not get you the desired outcome. So for instance, when I first started weightlifting, and we'll do the deadlifts. All right.
Yep.
I would weightlift. I did squats. I did all these other things, but I never deadlifted in my life. All right. So eventually what I did is sorry, I'm just removing someone from here because
We forgot to set it to private.
I already got it. Okay, got it logged.
Okay.
So someone told me, they're like, how'd you deadlift? And I was like, I don't know. I've never deadlifted before. Let me try it. This is the first time ever. So
Yep.
I lifted 250. I lifted 225. Boom, knocked it out. 315. Boom, knocked it out. Put 405, and I was like, okay, 405 seems heavy. And I got 405 the first time I ever deadlifted in my life.
This was high school,
And
right?
it was actually after high school. I deadlifted 405 the first time I ever tried, and I didn't have good form. I just yanked it from sheer strength. And they're like, how the heck did you do 405? And I was like, I don't know. I just did it. And someone could, there's people out there that have like deadlifted half their life and they still couldn't do 405.
I'm one of them.
I did it in the first shot.
Yep.
So then I started working. I was like, okay, let me try actually doing it. So then I got better and more efficient at working out. And I eventually got to the 600-pound deadlift, in the 600 pounds. But I don't know. I mean, work ethic, depending on your stature, depending on who you are, all that stuff,
Genetics
never gets you to that level. There are people who have poor work ethics that are multimillionaires. It doesn't mean that every person has to have a hard work ethic to have a desired outcome. There's people who didn't work at all in some of my classes that got straight A's because they were just smarter than everyone else. They got to point A or point B because they chose a more efficient route and they knew how to do it better than even the teacher could figure out. Now, does that make their work ethic worse? If they can figure out and everything's at their fingertips and they can generate $1 billion sitting down doing something that they enjoy, and his name's Mark Zuckerberg. And some people are far more efficient at generating and making cash than other people. And then you go to some of these, like, I'll say some of these workplaces. You go into the workplaces and they're measuring work ethic and not output or performance. That just kills me.
Yep.
Like that frustrates the hell out of me. It's like, they're like, oh, you didn't even work hard on this. I'm like, yeah, but my performance or my output was better than all these other people who dumped 100 hours into it. If I dump 1 hour in and you guys dump 100 hours in and I get the same output, I should get paid 100 times more money if you're doing it by a performance metric. And that's where I think the whole working for a big corporation just completely falls apart unless they know how to accurately evaluate performance. And they need to separate work ethic and performance and separate that part, because those who are that more efficient should be moving up the hierarchy as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why sales.
how are you doing this?
That's why sales
Yep.
tends to have decent metrics if you work in sales.
And that leads me to the question and a statement maybe. What is the most valuable skill set that one can possess to move themselves forward into higher paying jobs or into just higher pay in general? Maybe even just eliminate the job portion. What's your opinion there? I can give my opinion first since I've already thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, to recap real quick, what you said about the deadlifts, in case anyone's doubting you, it's absolutely true. And I think a lot of it is your genetics as well. Because remember when we measured, we're the same height. Then when we measured wingspan, didn't you have 8 inches on me? Something like that.
I don't know. My wingspan from tip to tip, if I go out, I think is 6 foot 8 inches.
Right. And I think mine is right at 6 foot or 6'1". So you have an abnormally long wingspan for your
6'9".
height, which which is good for leverage when you're doing a deadlift. And so, yeah, it is funny, right? I've been training. I mean, I'm 30 years old now. I've been weightlifting since I was like 16, and I still can't pull 405 off the ground. A lot of it has to do with just not being genetically gifted for, or genetically ungifted for the deadlift. But meanwhile, my bench press, I've been able to bench as much as you before. So like it's interesting how that works out. It's just your skill floor in terms of what you've been gifted to do. So just leverage your gifts. That's one of them. Whatever you've been talent. What do they say? A lot of people will say try to find your weaknesses and get them better. And it's like no, I think maybe you should find your talents and make those better. And
Or
maybe
your
that goes into your
strengths.
find your strengths and make them better.
If
Um,
you want to be really good at something, you don't want to be bad at everything or somewhat good at everything. You want like 4 things that you're just killer on.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and it's like I've been able to bench over 300 pounds before, and then I've not been able to deadlift over 385. And people will look at me and go, "Man, you're just a chest bro." And it's like, nope, just genetically gifted in bench, not genetically gifted in the deadlift, man. I could tell you I've trained both equally, just how it works out sometimes. Um, and and then along with your example about all the hours spent and work ethics and that kind of stuff, the Home Depot example, again, those ladies spent 30 minutes with me, full attention. They weren't lazy. They were just, well, maybe a little lazy in the beginning, but they were with me that whole time working to achieve an outcome that I think I could have done in 5 minutes. And yet, if we compared the two to management or corporations, they would have looked like they were harder workers than me. When I could have just sat on my phone for 5 minutes, then helped the client out, and then been like, all right, here's your mirrors. Now get lost. I hate you. And then they would have been like, oh, what a terrible person. I'm going to leave a negative review. But on the other side, yeah, we get the point. I don't need to share the story too many times. But back to your original question, what I think I have something in mind, but I'd like to hear what you think is the most important thing for getting ahead.
I think the most important skill, and engineers typically don't have this, or they don't develop it very well. It's being able to communicate effectively and or negotiation. So being able to present, being able to talk, being able to sell yourself and negotiate things. Because if you are I'll call it a master negotiator, like let's say you just get what you want every time you negotiate, you get what you want. You go down, you sit in an interview, you get the job, you get the pay that you want, you negotiate a higher pay, you negotiate the next promotion, you negotiate. Your skills at some point may not even matter. So when you look at this, you said you can't expect a 100K salary with the 50K work ethic. I bet you people who are really smart and really good at negotiating could get a 100K salary with a 50K work ethic, according to his thing, and you just have to negotiate it. Those who are really good at working and the skills and they can't negotiate are going to get shafted, because now you're relying on external factors or the opinions of other people and them recognizing that value that they can provide to the company or to wherever. If you can negotiate, you can say, look, this is the value I've created. Let's negotiate. Because I don't think I'm a level 2 worker. I think I'm a level 4 worker. Here is the data to support my opinions. And if they don't support that outcome, even though you may have the evidence of it, you can go somewhere else and get that pay. So you kind of have to have negotiation, selling yourself type skill set. And I think that's more valuable than actually the skill sets that some of the workers may possess even.
So if you're a hiring manager and I'm being interviewed by you and you guys want to hire me, and let's say you're like with the two metrics we're using, 100K or 50K, through an interview and through a job application or through a resume, how do you measure my work ethic?
You won't be able to very easily.
So
The
then
way that
so then when these companies are dishing out salaries, it's not based on work ethic. So that tweeting from the very beginning is kind of hard to.
Well, that would be if you're already at the job and then they were evaluating you. But negotiation and being able to sell yourself would get you through an interview where you could have a 50K work ethic
Yeah.
and get 100 grand.
Yeah, but we already know that the quickest way to make more money is to go do another job somewhere else.
Which means that the skill set that's actually preferable is negotiation and selling.
Marketing, yeah, selling. How do you
Yes.
market yourself?
Mm-hmm. and being able to present clearly and speak clearly so everybody understands. So you could basically walk in and everybody's like, man, this guy's really good. He spoke so well. It's like, boom, you got the job.
He answered our questions.
Yep.
He didn't just answer it, he articulated it well. Communication skills. I don't know if you mentioned communication skills for engineers. I think that was a lot bigger problem 10 years ago, 10 years plus. I don't think it's still a problem, but I think you're finding more, I don't want to say normal, better communicators are starting to go into the STEM fields because it's more popular now than it was 20 years ago. And so I'm seeing that there are better people entering that craft that know how to communicate, know how to present, but it's still not great.
I would
Are you
say,
seeing that?
I think
It's still bad.
the
It's like an 80-20.
younger crew, the difference between the older crew and the younger crew, there are some large differences. It has nothing to do with work ethic or anything like that. I think the younger people, guys, girls, whatever, that are engineers, they're good at using systems. They're good at Excel. They can program some
Yeah.
stuff. They're good at all that stuff, but they don't know the big picture view. They don't know the actual engineering perspective. They don't know the efficiency side. Like, they're really good at certain things, but they're all kind of good at those certain things. They're not good at the big picture view things. So they can't tie it together very well. And that just comes with time and learning.
No,
But
no.
you don't think so?
Well, I'm in agreement. I'm saying that they don't know those things. And I think a lot of it is when you're going through school, you're being graded from an A to F. And the only way to get an A is to have all the data and have all the facts. And I think that's the hardest thing these younger engineers I have under me have a problem with, is that if they don't have all the facts, they don't want to make assumptions, because making assumptions when you're in school is what gets you an F. It's go through your textbook, find the answer, and then apply that to your equations, apply that to the problem set, and then get the answer, not close to the answer. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes some good professors will purposely leave out details and tell you to make an assumption, but the assumptions, you can narrow down the assumptions to a good quality number or quantitative number. It will be a range. Use anything from 1 to 3 in this equation. Use anything from 550 to 890 in this equation. Just pick an assumption. But when you actually get out there and you're developing a new system, the assumptions are literally from 0 to infinity. It's like, well, what do I pick? Just pick something and flip and go with it, man. And so that's where I was going to go with my answer. I do agree with you, but I was going to say execution. There's a lot of people out there that they have a vision and they'll like to talk about it. Maybe they'll think about it, they'll daydream about it, but little people get up and go and do it. Like, literally just do the work, go out and execute. If you think you can do it, just go do it. Go fail. That's another aspect of it too.
That's implementation is what I call it. But that's also the hardest part.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the most
easy.
important skills.
Ideas are easy. Implementation is hard.
I think that's an extremely important skill a lot of people don't have, because they're scared to fail. Why? Because failure got you chewed out by your parents. Failure got you chewed out by your teachers and professors and those kinds of things. And so that I think that's really important, especially for entrepreneurs, even yourself, right? No one told you to make your channel or make your website or anything like that. You just kind of woke up one day, or we were chatting and you were like, man, I disagree with a lot of people on YouTube. I'm just going to go out and do it. That's it.
Yep.
I'm just going to go do it.
Yep.
So when in doubt, do it.
But I'm more set up that way. That's just the way I do it. I don't I guess the school's motto I went to, and it's not from school though, it's learn by doing. So you just go do it and then figure out how to do it and make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is. Well, I guess I do that at work too, after I think about it. But there's a lot of things that no one told me what to do. And that's where people, I think the newer engineers at least, and maybe it just comes with age, I don't know, they need to be told what to do. They need to be told the requirements. They need to be told. And then finally they can crunch the thing and get it some answer. And it's like, do you understand what the answer is? Do you understand how you input all this stuff? And that's where they fall short. So they can run an Excel spreadsheet. They can run all these things. They can run the system, but it's like, they don't know what it means. They don't know why. They don't know the interconnectedness. They don't know what the inputs and how those inputs are intertwined and mix. But I don't know if they could ever figure it out either. Like, they have to be told what to do. It's like, you have to do this, you have to do that. And that's where like they're so uncomfortable in the unknown. And that's where I thrive. I thrive in the unknown. Like I just come up with it. It's
Hmm.
like half the stuff I learned, it wasn't from books. No one taught me it. I just figured it out and said, okay, if this is how something happens, and every time I see this, this comes next, then there must be a reason. What's that interconnected piece? Like they don't have that. And I don't know why.
So kind of a slight tangent. I wonder how many military people you have that follow you, or veterans, just in general. I'm going to take a dig at the Air Force a little bit, but as you know, I'm Army, and so I've worked a lot with the Army, and I've also, because of my unique job in the Army, I've worked a lot with the Air Force. You just described, in my opinion, the difference between Army and Air Force. The Air Force is notorious for being very good at a single thing with a checklist. Hey, go maintain that aircraft. They'll go out and do it. But the moment they run into something that they have no experience in, it's like they shut down, right? They can't see the tertiary and secondary effects from those things, like a system level, right? But you go in the Army, since we were cadets or even in basic training, you're taught, hey, go out and do that. And when you go out and do that, we're going to throw 3 random things at you that are going to just completely flip you over, and no one's told you what the right answer is, but we expect you to come up with a decision or a course of action and just execute, see what happens. And so on the Army side, what we were always told was make a plan and execute. Even if it's not a good plan, you just got to execute. If you get ambushed, you can't just sit there and think, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then, you're getting ambushed. Do I talk to this guy? What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? No, there's bullets hitting you. The idea is quickly react, make your plan, go out and execute, and follow through on your execution. The Air Force mentality is very much not that way, because it's not a very reactive service. It's very much a, hey, how do we continue to refine our craft and get very good at our single craft? And that's kind of, I see that a lot in engineering. You got an electrical engineer, he's making decisions, he's making designs, and then you go, you do realize how that impacts the mechanical department, right? And they're like, that's not my job. And I go, oh, come on, man. Like, just bear with me for a second. Try to be a systems level guy for a second. Then that's my skill set. I'm a systems engineer. Come on, you can see how this impacts mechanical. Like they're going to need a more power cables. They're going to need bigger power cables, maybe an extra ups in that equipment. Those kinds of things. They can't fit it. You want 200 amps? How are we going to fit 200 amps of worth of stuff in here? And the guy goes, well, I'm not mechanical. Of course, I'm not thinking that. And I see that all the time in engineering. More often than not, people are this depth. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like the breadth and the depth. They have depth and they stay there. And they go, there's no reason for me to get breadth and depth because I'm not a systems guy, not my job. I wish everyone would be a systems person. Do you see that over on your side?
Well, it's tying it all together that I don't see. That's all.
No, you
And
tie it together, right? It's other people aren't tying it together.
it's a lot of people. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of everything. But yeah, tying it together, I don't know. That's what I'm good at. So that's what I do.
But that's like then where, if you're one of those people, where do you go? Like, I think systems engineering is a good aspect for those people. I don't know if management's the right role.
Yeah, I think management could be a
You
good
think
spot.
so?
Because there's not many of them.
Okay.
You want to go where like there's not many people. I think being if you could articulate your if you could articulate very well your thoughts, ideas, you have an engineering background and you know the math side, I think you can go into management and just blow all those people out of the water because they're just there because they can either communicate okay, they can't tie anything together. They don't know the engineering, they don't know the product, they don't know any of this stuff. So they're like managing something, they have no idea what they're managing. If you know what you're managing and you understand what you're managing, you're going to be 800 times better. All successful companies are basically created by founders who are engineering type based and went all the way to the top because they know exactly how to manage something that they know how it's built.
Okay, you're right. You've
How do you
convinced
manage
me.
something you have no idea how it's built? I mean,
Yep.
that's like impossible.
Yep.
So then you have all these people who don't know what the big picture is telling you you need to do it this way, and you're like, nah, I don't think so. that's not how you do it. You don't fix a car by putting it in the middle of a lake. It's just like, that's stupid. I know I'm going off the deep end to whatever,
Bend
but they're
Lake.
just like, go throw the car out in the, in the water and it'll go away. We'll go buy a new one. I don't know. I'm just trying to make an example. I can't think of anything, but it's just,
Well, no, I get it. Yeah, program
yeah.
managers for the most part, they get a degree in business and then they get an MBA or a master's in business management or something like that, and their resume. Oh, there you go. That goes back to work ethic. And now we're making full circle. Now they put all that on their resume. They get the phone call, and because they've done all these credential stuff, they know how to talk. They're smooth talkers, right? They go, oh yeah, this. Oh, earned value management systems. Oh, agile engineering. Oh yeah, I know all that. Agile program management, project management. I know how to do all these things. It's great. I have exposure and experience. I've learned a lot. They get hired and they get on board, and then all of a sudden, all the engineers are hitting them with, hey, look, man, our schedule is behind because of these reasons, these reasons, and these reasons. And you can just see them kind of going, they don't understand it. And so if they can't understand what they're building, then when they have to brief to the customer themselves are just like, wait, we don't know why the timelines, why are you guys slipping on your schedule? And then that program manager doesn't know why. He just, he'll have you like say, hey, message me in Teams real quick. Tell me what to say. And then you as the engineering team are actually doing the program management for him. He's just the figurehead, if you will.
Yeah, that's all it is in
Yep.
all these companies.
Now, if you have a PM who does have an engineering background, yeah, you're right. They're solid. They're good.
Mhm. Yeah, because they can explain it.
Have you heard this one before? I've had PMs say this on the customer side and on my side. The PMs have said, I'm not an engineer. I don't get it. And they say that with like a almost facetiously, right? They get a lot of laughs in the room and then everyone kind of dismisses it. But imagine being a chief engineer and saying something like that. Oh, I don't understand it. It's not my thing. Everyone would be like, dude, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's I don't think that's acceptable for any PM to ever say, ever.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I don't really work with PMs anymore, so I'm good
Yeah, lucky you.
to some extent.
I actually have a good one right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a question of yourself or whatever on your side. What
Well, I was going to ask you. I mentioned it this morning during the question and answer video. There's about 60 of us on. And I made a straw poll. And the question was, how many individual stocks are in your commodity portfolio? Reason why I wanted to ask this and the reason why I was curious was because yesterday being, the end of the week, I was like, all right, let me check through my portfolio and see who, like year to date, or not year to date, but since purchase, who's my best performer. And it's been a while since I've actually checked into that. I've only been paying attention to a few of the companies that I really like. I haven't actually been paying attention to my whole portfolio because I have 60 stocks in my portfolio. And my best performer is an energy service company I don't even remember buying. And I realize that and I go, that's not good. That's not good no matter how you look at it, right? That's not good. My best performer is a 4 or 5x right now, and I don't even remember buying it. I couldn't tell you when. And the only reason why I know it's energy service is because it says energy service in the company name. So my question to you is like, what do you think is well, I'll give the results from the poll. I'll say basically over 50% of the people that answered, or no, 1/3 of the people that answered said it's 100 plus. Another third is between 50 and 100, and then a minority is less than 30. So about 15% is less than 20, and then another 50% is 20 to 30. Everyone else was 50 and above. So we'll put it to you that way. About 70% is 50 and above. And that's a lot. And think about it. So that means of everyone that's answered, there's a lot of people in the Finding Value website community and stuff that are managing 50 or more stocks in their portfolio. And for people who aren't doing this for a full-time job, or at least from my position, it's kind of overwhelming. And I wonder if I need to scale down some of these companies that might be the swing for the fences companies and just look for because for the swing for the fences companies, right? I can't just buy one. I got to sprinkle across 10 because only maybe 1 in 10 are going to hit. It's kind of a lottery ticket. But at the moment the moment I sprinkle across 10, that's 10 companies I'll never remember them. So I almost wonder if you're I'm asking you, right? If
Mhm.
the type of, let's take me for an example. If there's people out there that are the type of investor like me who just don't have the hours to pay attention to all the stocks in their portfolio, should I even bother with these swing for the fences companies?
I would say in certain sectors, yes, it's worth it, and then other sectors, no. So what you should be doing is the ones that have the highest weightings in your portfolio should be the ones that you're paying the most attention to. But what exactly work are you going to be doing with a lot of these companies? That is where my question kind of comes back to the other person. Are you going to go in and look at their financial statements, and what is the financial statement going to tell you? I mean, that's really the question, right? So let's say they're losing money, they're going to be making money at some point in the future. That doesn't change quickly. That changes what? Once a quarter? So it may take 6 months
Right.
to a year for them to go from an inflect from a negative to a positive. What are you going to be looking at with that company in particular that you have to spend so much time with?
I'm thinking more like the explorers, where maybe for all I know, maybe they had an opportunity, or maybe they got denied a permit, and I just never knew because I don't pay attention. Maybe they had 5 boreholes that they were going to do in the next month, and all 5 missed. They announced that all 5 missed, and I never know because I never get their newsletters. I never research them. I don't follow them on Twitter. Those kinds of things. Whether you're talking about a base load energy or you're talking about a reconnaissance Africa oil, I don't
So
follow them.
yeah, so here's kind of my take on that. When uranium went up, that sector in 2020, did they all go up or did they what happened?
I think they all went up.
Okay. If they all went
It's
up,
just, yeah,
does the fundamentals of the company actually, at least following what you think are the
probably
fundamentals of the
not.
company, does it even matter?
No.
So what matters in the bottom line for uranium exploration company? I mean, hitting a big one will divert funds into it for sure. It happened in Fission 3.0.
Yep.
They hit, there's something down there, a lot of people went in, it went up. Now, could you have guessed? I mean, you could have guessed when that news could have came out, but I don't know what value you would have got from knowing when the news might come out, because you'd still be speculating massively. But the majority of these companies go up when money flows into the sector. So really, if I were to spend all of my time and efforts in the most efficient manner, back to the first thing that we were talking about, the way that I would approach it is you need to know when money's flowing into it. The actual fundamentals may or may not even matter. It's all about money flows. Because you can sit here and be out of cycle, have somebody hit something, and it means nothing. Nothing will happen. The money won't really flow in
Yeah.
until
Right.
you've got flows looking to come into the sector. There's got to be a reason for money to enter that sector. Or it's the money's evading other sectors saying, I don't want to be in those sectors. I have to find something else. That's the whole thing of rising interest rate. A rising interest rate environment forces money to go look for something else. It forces them out of bonds, it forces out of stocks, and it goes and looks at other sectors. And if the whole sector is what's going up, then why is staring at all these different, all these little news flows of all of this company's releasing? Why does that matter? And why do you have to read every single one? Now, is there a quick way to bypass all the fundamentals? Yeah, you could go to the technicals, look at the fractals, and the fractals embedded in that technical analysis tells you what the fundamentals are of the company and what those people are doing in terms of money flows and buying that stock. So the technicals are actually, in my opinion, more important than the fundamentals because you have to gauge what the market thinks about the company, not what you think about the company. Does that make sense? Now, there are opportunities where you could dig into it, find it fundamentally, and figure out something before the market does. That is a possibility, but that's going to take substantial effort, and you have to be right on it versus what the market thinks. But if the market is buying something, you should be able to see it through volume coming into the markets and buying it at a low. So what naturally happens, this is what naturally happens, all right? You could be a fundamental analysis guy, you could do all the work in the world, and you can study this company to death. And guess what? It goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere.
They've
Yeah.
got great fundamentals, nowhere. Oh my God, they're making money, goes down 50% right after they make their best quarter. Why is that? Because the market fell out of love with that sector and the money rotated out, even though they had the best fundamentals the company's ever had of any quarter or any year. So the fundamentals of a commodity company, and this is all commodities related, the fundamentals of a commodity company are derived by the underlying fundamentals of the commodity itself. The fundamentals of the particular company do not matter one iota if the fundamentals of the commodity are out of favor. Now, when the commodity comes into favor, the only thing you want to look at in the commodities is, well, which ones have the best leverage to the price move? And what has the best risk reward and probability of success? So I'm just looking at it from like a big picture view, like I would as an engineer, and I'd say, would you rather dump all your work ethic, so to speak, into the fundamentals, which may or may not pay out? You have to know if money's entering that stock. You have to know what the fractal is and what the returns could potentially be by looking at the technicals. Now, when I find something that's got good, money flow coming in, someone's buying it, and they've got good technicals, I then go dive into the fundamentals. So my first screen's all technical based, then I go into the fundamentals. And if the fundamentals look good, the fundamentals don't change very often. So we can look at a company, a drilling company per se. We can see it's losing money, but it's inflecting to a positive. We've got people buying it at the bottom and accumulating, buy. I go and research the company. The company says, yep, over the next year or two, we are expected to do very well, and then day rates will go up. All right. And if it's a pretty, we'll call it boring company, AKA, boring company, because they're boring holes and stuff.
Right.
If it's a boring company, we can just watch the day rates then. If the day rates go up, they make more money. We don't even have to really look at the company itself anymore. It's a good company. The fundamentals are good. They're working on progressing more and deploying more and more drilling rigs. But I don't know. I'm not in the camp where you have to look at every company and every news release. I don't think it's worthwhile.
Okay. Yeah,
I might differ. I might differ than most people.
No, you saying that is making me research like a good example of that, of what's happening right now.
Well, so for instance, why would a company that's making a buttload of money in drilling go, and let's say it goes up 10x because it's got all these earnings, it's undervalued, it just makes a ton of money. Why would a uranium company that makes zero money, why would that go up more than a company that's making a bunch of money that just 10x? Why would a uranium company go up more that makes no money and doesn't even have the possibility of making money?
People threw money into it.
Yeah. So what's the important thing? The fundamentals or where the money's flowing?
Where the money's flowing.
That's it. So why are we?
Yeah.
It's where where money's flowing.
Well, it's making me think of Tesla, right?
Yeah, they had a crappy balance sheet.
Yeah, I'm trying to find their profit for 2022. Q3 2022 reached 3 billion. 3 billion. Oh, that was their net income. Income is profit, right? Is that the same? Or is income revenue?
Or wait.
Is income revenue?
Income is profit.
It's profit, right?
Revenue is just what's coming in.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, really? 3 billion. Well,
that's nothing for how big their company was, though.
Yeah, I think they said it was, I think I'm reading it's less than 10 billion for 2022, just because Q3 was actually a good quarter for them. So then, oh no, that was the same period of 2021.
So what you're gonna find out is interest rates is where money gets directed. So when interest rates are going down, it gets directed towards technology because more people are going to speculate on growth stocks because they want that growth because they can't get a return anywhere else. When interest rates start going up, they yank money out of technology and they park it somewhere else. That is what matters. The fundamentals do matter to some extent, but that matters more than the fundamentals. You have to get the money flows right.
No, I'm looking at it here. Like Toyota had a significantly more profit profit that year, but they're way less in market cap.
Their stock went down. Yep.
Or like
Oh,
compared to Tesla, right?
you're talking about Tesla. You're doing a
Well, yeah, like
comparison.
Tesla stock is still significantly more than Toyota
Yeah, and Toyota's like massively larger than Tesla and a far better company.
and makes more money.
Well, it's far better at everything.
Yeah.
No, it
So,
is. It's a superior company, like flat out, bar none. The CEO of Toyota making cars is better suited at making cars than Elon Musk is. Then you look at Toyota. Toyota's like one of the best manufacturing, powerhouses in the world. They
right.
have
That's
so
that's
much
huge.
knowledge that Tesla wish they knew. They wish they knew what Toyota knew, and Toyota's going to wax them. They're going to wax them
Oh,
all day.
they had a I didn't know that. Their net income, Toyota, was 430 billion. It is
Yeah,
way more than Tesla, but Tesla is still worth. Okay, so you're right. You,
it does
you know
not
what I mean?
matter.
Like, doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm on the manufacturing side, and I know people who work at Tesla, and I know people who came from Toyota. It's not even close. Toyota is a powerhouse. Like they produce a ton of things, transmissions, cars, everything. It's like, man, they are a powerhouse. They kill it. So all of the manufacturing, we study Toyota to see how they did it.
Yeah,
It's like, how do these guys pump this stuff through?
yeah. We got to find the. If this is correct, as of Tesla was 3 billion, Toyota was 430 billion.
Yeah, and look at their market caps.
Right. It's. I think Toyota's half of Tesla.
Makes no sense. That's why Tesla. That's why
Well,
everyone's shorting Tesla. They're completely
so
overpriced.
so we got to find the Toyota or the Tesla of uranium.
Well, it's
Because it's the
not.
marketing. It's the marketing, right? Tesla has a good marketing. It attracts all the Tesla bros from Reddit. They all go out there and invest in Tesla because they, I don't know, to the moon, something like that. So who's the uranium miner or producer or explorer that's going to really take advantage of the boom and have 1 million followers on Twitter and be
It's the
the
one that
innovator?
it's the one that attracts the most money flow.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if not financial advice, but if you whatever company or owner of a uranium company really starts to leverage social media or YouTube or anything like that, I'm going to be dumping money into that company just because on the back end, all these Reddit bros are going to start investing into that
Mm-hmm.
company. And then once I
Yeah,
see on the front page of Reddit, oh, this uranium company is going to solve world hunger. Sell, 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 sell.
yeah, and there's some companies that make boatloads of cash, and then you get in it and you just wait for the money to come in and enter. And by that time, you're just relying on the technical analysis, which is the herd mentality and how they're lining that company up to move it either higher or lower. I mean, that's really what technical analysis is. So I think if you have a good, well-rounded, fundamental technical approach, and you know where the value is, that's all you can do. But value does not mean that money is going to flow into it. You need the right market conditions for money to be agitated away from bonds or whatever, which is AKA losses, for money to rotate out and move to other sectors. And that's going to happen. It's already being agitated.
Mm-hmm. So
That's
basically, in conclusion, that the as the cash flow comes in, or as the money rotates in, it's just going to raise the water level of the whole lake if you equate lakes to sectors.
Yeah, and then within that lake, you're going to have ones that go way up and ones that don't go up as much, and that
Yeah.
just depends on where retail wants to put money, or where institutional money wants to flow. And you can see that by URNM. If people dump money into URNM, what are the
Yeah.
companies in
Right.
URNM? And they may get a little bit more, or if retail, I don't know, locks onto one of these companies, they're just going to send it to the moon, and we don't necessarily know which one that is. It has nothing to do with the fundamentals, or maybe it does have something to do. Maybe they choose a company that has already found a deposit, or has hit something and is defining what that deposit is, or maybe it's one of them that hits something and everybody just piles into it. But that doesn't mean that it will stay there, stay up high forever. That money flow can also come back out when they get bored of it.
Or
Yeah,
once people, yeah, which is going to
that's
happen.
the
Happens
that's
everywhere.
the that's the Lassonde curve. Everybody gets excited in the exploration, then it comes back down, and then it goes all the way back up when they develop whatever deposit they found. Yeah, it's all money flows.
So that's the trick. Trick is selling before when you realize people are about to get bored.
Which then it's just all technical analysis.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Yep. It's got nothing to do with fundamentals. That's too bad.
To some degree.
Yeah, it's kind of
the
depressing in a way,
matter.
right? Yeah.
Usually, if the fundamentals are good, people will start buying the good fundamental companies.
Sounds like the market's not very efficient. It's very emotional.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make a comment to that. I don't know. I mean, it is and it isn't efficient. I mean, if the market was ultimately super efficient, why would we have an increasing and decreasing interest rate environment? Wouldn't it already, if you had a large influx of buyers and this market was so efficient, it would actually foresee the buyers coming and increase interest rates before the flood of buyers would come in, making it unaffordable and pricing people out and basically holding prices steady.
Right.
But the markets are still very reactionary. It's completely inefficient to some extent. And you could argue that it doesn't look far enough into the future to price certain things. I mean, maybe oil should be at $150 a barrel right now. But what they do is they look at inventory levels, they look at certain things in the short term, and they say, oh, it's okay right now. Well, it's like, well, but what about, 2 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
And then the market participants may or may not know, which they don't know, what's going to happen 2 years from now. So that it's just a bunch of people making educated guesses on where they think prices should be. But that making educated guesses is not necessarily going to be efficient, will it?
No, it's all guessing.
Yeah. So what you're going to come away with is, where do you get the edge? And the edge is maybe looking further ahead into time than what people are looking at the next week or month. And then if you've got large imbalances, the money has to flow to that sector to solve the imbalance.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the money
that's the fundamentals then.
The money will rotate on two accounts. It'll rotate from the investment side, and it will rotate and take money from the retail side. Does that make sense? So you've got the investors who want to invest in it, they front run it kind of. And then the companies make money by charging more prices for gasoline to distribute that gasoline to those that most efficiently can use it at higher prices. So they get higher revenues from that end, and then you get more investment too. So I mean, it's hard because people think, oh, if the fundamentals are good, that the money's just going to flow in. It doesn't work like that. The money has to get triggered into it. And sometimes the stupid of all stupid companies get all the money.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense. Because people directed money right at it.
Yeah, you have any other than Tesla, do you have another name in mind?
What, that's stupid? Or
that has a lot of
the only thing that popped right in my head, if you said stupid, it was Kathy Wood, but RK. Like, and I don't know if she's actually like stupid. It's just
I saw your video.
Some of her comments though that she makes, I'm just like, what are you doing?
I think it's the video you released this morning or something.
Yeah.
Where she
said
30% less for oil.
Yeah, demand
oil per day.
Demand.
No.
Well, just in general, it doesn't matter. It was 30 million barrels, 30%.
Yeah.
In 5 years. I'm like,
that's huge, man. It is huge.
30 million barrels is like, there's no way. In 5 years. There's no way. That's like saying the majority of the fleet of cars is going to get rolled over in all of the largest countries in the world. And we've got the minerals to do it, and we've got the transportation and supply chain. There's just no way.
Are you sure she said that?
Yeah.
No, I saw the article. That's just
Yeah.
Well, the worst part about long-term predictions is that no one gets held accountable for it, because in 5 years, most people will forget she even said that.
It's perfect. No, I have not forgot three years ago that she said that oil would never go over $12 a barrel.
I remember that.
And what we went all the way to 120. She missed it by 10x.
She said that right when COVID started, right?
It was right after COVID.
Yeah, because it
And I
went
said
negative.
that I said oil is probably going to go to 250 or something or 300 by the end of the bull market, because when you contract the oil supply that much at one point, it's going to overshoot on the other side because you can't grow the production that fast. So,
Whoa, have you looked at her portfolio recently?
what about it?
She is, from what I can see, she's underneath her 5-year. She's on a 5-year low right now.
Mm.
Whoa.
But it may go back up. I'm not saying that it's going to be down
Right,
there forever.
but you know, a 5-year low is that's pretty bad, considering most of the indexes aren't there yet. You know, the Nasdaq, the S&P.
Yeah, it's going to highly depend on what inflation is coming and how high interest rates go, and the rate of change of that interest rate. If it's changing, going from 5% to something else, you're going to see the growth stocks fall. Or if we have supply constraints in commodities, which I think we will have, and I
Right.
think it's going to put pressure on all these commodity users to make their products.
I mean, it's hurting well, your job sector. It's hurting mine. We have supply chain.
Yeah,
Anyone that
aerospace.
needs microchips, even now.
Yeah, they're going to get less earnings. It's going to slow everything down.
Yeah, and if you can't sell your items, can't finish building your items.
Yep, you'll have surpluses of some areas, and you'll have shortages of others.
Yep.
Definitely. What else you got?
You only need a shortage of one component in the system to make the system itself a shortage.
Yep.
That's what I think people don't really see it that way. You can have a complex system of 1,000 components. All you need is one to be missing, and now you can't sell that item.
Yeah,
now you have a shortage.
Yep. Your risk goes up as the complexity goes up.
Yep.
So your most complex things have the highest risk of being short, or those things that have the most components of likely shortages are the ones that are going to be rough to get. They're going to have the highest probability of shortage.
Ooh.
So, yeah. What else you got, Andrew?
Man, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right,
that was good. That was a good hour.
That's no big deal. Yeah.
Good 30 minutes on one topic, 30 minutes on another.
Perfect. All right, guys, if you made it to the end, put in the comments section, I made it to the end. Thanks for hitting the end. Definitely give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And that's it. Thank you, Andrew, for coming on. Appreciate it. And if somebody wanted to reach out and add you on Twitter, it's at Silver Emir, EMIR.
EMIR, and I'm on Discord as well. EMIR.
All right. Sounds good. See you, everybody.